I'm Maya, and I'm 28 years old. I thought I'd seen it all with my family's favoritism until that phone call. Sitting in my New York apartment in my blue dress, preparing for a critical surgery consultation, my mom's voice was ice cold through the phone. "We can't watch your twins during your surgery," she said flatly. "We're helping your sister move into her new condo that week." The line went silent. My sister Lauren's triumphant laugh echoed in the background, cutting deeper than the words. I felt the heat rise in my chest, my hands trembling. But I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I just burned inside knowing this was the final straw. For years, I'd been their safety net, bailing them out of financial disasters while raising twins alone, only to be their afterthought. That moment, something snapped. I wasn't going to take it anymore. I ended the call, my heart already planning my next move. 3 weeks later, their wish to focus only on Lauren came true in a way they never expected, and their perfect little world started to unravel. If you're enjoying this story so far, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss what happens next. Trust me, you'll want to see how this unfolds. Imagine it was you. How would you respond, and tell me your country so I can see just how far this story has reached? Growing up, I was always the afterthought. My parents, Robert and Diana, never let me forget it. When I was a kid, they'd beam at my sister Lauren, praising her dance recitals, her art awards, her charming personality. Me, I was lucky if they remembered my birthday. I still carry the sting of those years, like the time I graduated top of my class in high school, and they left early to catch Lauren's volleyball tournament. Lauren soaked it up, always ready with a smug smile like she deserved every ounce of their attention. It wasn't just words. Their favoritism shaped everything. Family dinners revolved around Lauren's achievements, her latest boyfriend, her travel plans. If I spoke, Mom would interrupt, saying, "Hold on, Lauren's talking." Dad would nod, eyes glued to her. I learned to stay quiet, swallowing the hurt. But it wasn't just at home. They'd showcase Lauren at family gatherings while I trailed behind, invisible. Once at a cousin's graduation party, they spent the entire evening bragging about Lauren's new graphic design freelance gigs, never mentioning I'd just been promoted to senior accountant at a consulting firm. The real kicker, their real estate investments. My parents owned 3 rental properties in Queens, their pride and joy, but they were constantly hemorrhaging money. Bad tenant choices, deferred maintenance, you name it. I bailed them out, not just once, but every single month. $850 from my paycheck wired without fail, plus hours of free accounting help to keep their properties from foreclosure. I'd review their books, chase down late rent payments, even coordinate with contractors for emergency repairs. Did they thank me? No. They'd call Lauren to gush about how her suggestion to repaint a hallway saved the day, even though her ideas were surface level at best. A new mailbox here, some plants there. My work barely acknowledged. I wasn't naive. I knew they leaned on me because I was good with numbers, not because they valued me. Every time I sent that $850, I'd clench my jaw thinking about the daycare costs I struggled with, the twins' clothes I couldn't afford to replace. But I did it. Why? Duty? Family? That stubborn hope that one day they'd see me. I'd sit up late after putting my 3-year-old twins to bed, reviewing their property statements, catching errors that would have cost them $15,000 or more. Meanwhile, they'd be at Lauren's loft fawning over her latest photography project that never materialized. It wasn't just the money, it was the erasure. Once I spent 2 weeks fixing a property tax dispute for their Brooklyn rental. The day I told them it was resolved, Mom said, "Oh, good. By the way, Lauren's designing new lease agreements for us." No thank you, no recognition. Dad just grunted, already texting Lauren to discuss her vision. I stood there, exhausted from sleepless nights with sick toddlers and their financial mess, feeling like a ghost. Another time, I suggested hiring a property management company to reduce their workload. They ignored it until Lauren casually mentioned the same idea 4 months later. Suddenly, it was genius. Lauren wasn't innocent in this. She'd lean into their praise, tossing me a pitying look like I was some charity case with my struggling single mom life. Once when I was 24, she joked at a family barbecue that I was lucky to be the backup kid who did all the boring work. Mom laughed. Dad didn't correct her. That memory stuck, a knife twisting every time they put her on a pedestal. Yet, I kept helping month after month, wiring money, fixing problems, juggling my twins' needs and their demands, because I thought that's what family did. Looking back, I see it clearly. They used me, not just my money, but my skills, my time. I was their safety net, the one they relied on, but never respected. Every check I sent, every midnight call about their rental crisis was me chasing their approval. But approval never came. They'd take my help, then turn around and sing Lauren's praises as if she was the one keeping their properties afloat. I'd lie awake, my twins asleep in the next room, staring at the ceiling, wondering why I kept trying. Duty, guilt, maybe a flicker of hope they'd change. That hope died the day I called about my surgery. I'd spent years being their afterthought, but I wasn't going to stay that way. The call came on a Tuesday morning in April 2025. I sat in my small New York apartment, my 3-year-old twins, Emma and Ethan, playing with blocks nearby. My doctor had just scheduled my gallbladder surgery for May 15th, a necessary procedure I'd been putting off for months because of the pain and complications. I needed someone to watch the twins for 4 days, 2 for the surgery and recovery, 2 more while I regained my strength. I dialed Mom, my stomach knotted. She picked up on the 3rd ring, her voice distracted. Maya, what is it? I'm in the middle of something. I explained quickly, my surgery date, the twins' needs, how I had no one else. My ex-husband, the twins' father, had vanished 2 years ago, no child support, no contact. Friends had their own lives, jobs, kids. I needed family. I needed her. There was silence. Then, we can't, she said flatly. We're helping Lauren move into her new condo in Brooklyn that week. It's a big deal for her. My breath caught. Mom, this is surgery. I can't do this alone. Lauren's been planning this move for months, she said, her tone sharp. We already committed. Maybe you can find a babysitter. Lauren's voice cut through the background, loud and mocking. Tell her to hire help. That's what normal people do. Her laugh, cruel and triumphant, echoed through the phone. Dad's voice joined in, gruff. Your sister needs us. You'll figure it out. I sat there, the phone pressed to my ear, my twins giggling behind me, oblivious. I felt the rage building, hot and tight in my chest. They were choosing Lauren's condo move, something she could reschedule or hire movers for, over my health, over their grandchildren's safety. I see, I said, my voice steady despite the fury. Enjoy helping Lauren. I hung up before they could respond. Emma looked up at me, her big brown eyes curious. Mommy okay? She asked. I forced a smile, nodding, but inside I was unraveling. Years of being pushed aside, of sending them $850 every month, of fixing their rental nightmares while juggling diapers and daycare drop-offs, all crashed down. Lauren's smirk, even through the phone, was the final straw, a silent taunt that I'd never be enough. I called my friend Jasmine that night, the one person who'd always supported me. We met at a small cafe near my apartment, and I told her everything. Jasmine listened, her face darkening. They chose a condo move over your surgery? She asked, disbelief in her voice. "Maya, that's not family. That's abuse." Her words hit hard. Simple but true. "You need to cut them off," she said, stirring her tea. "Not just emotionally. Financially. They don't deserve your help." I nodded, feeling the weight of her advice. That night, I sat alone in my apartment, the twins asleep in their room, and made a decision. I wasn't just going to walk away. I was going to end this cycle of being their bank account, their invisible problem solver, once and for all. Still watching? Make sure you're subscribed because the next part gets even more intense. Hit that button now. That night, I sat in my living room, the silence broken only by the hum of my apartment's old radiator. The sting of Mom's refusal, "We can't watch your twins during your surgery," burned sharper than ever. Lauren's mocking laugh. Dad's dismissive tone. Their choice to prioritize a condo move over my health and their grandchildren's safety replayed in my mind. Each memory fueled a decision I'd been avoiding for years. I was done. Done being their afterthought, their ATM, their invisible fixer while raising twins alone. I grabbed my laptop, my hands steady despite the anger pulsing through me. I opened my bank's website and canceled the automatic $850 monthly transfer to their account. Then I drafted an email to the family group chat, me, Dad, Mom, and Lauren. "I'm done supporting your rental properties. No more money. No more accounting help. You're on your own now. Good luck." I hit send, my heart racing, knowing the chaos it would unleash. Within 10 minutes, my phone exploded. Dad called first, leaving a voicemail I didn't check. Mom followed with a text. "What's going on? Call me immediately." Lauren sent a single word. "Pathetic." I stared at the screen, their words blurring together, and felt a strange calm. I wasn't going to answer. Not tonight. Not ever. By the next morning, the calls multiplied. Dad left 4 more voicemails, his tone shifting from confusion to anger. "We need to discuss this," he said in one, as if I owed him an explanation. Mom's emails flooded my inbox, long guilt-tripping messages about how the properties were our family's legacy and how I couldn't just abandon them. Lauren called 3 times, her voice sharp, demanding I stop being dramatic. I let every call go to voicemail, every email sit unread. Their panic was obvious, even through the screen, but I felt no guilt. They'd relied on my money and expertise for years, never once thanking me, always praising Lauren instead. Now they'd face the consequences. The properties were a disaster without me. I knew they would be. My $850 a month covered their mortgage shortfalls, kept the utilities on for vacant units. My advice, hours spent analyzing their finances, coordinating repairs, had been the only thing preventing foreclosure. Without it, they'd sink, and fast. I didn't feel sorry for them. I felt free. For the first time, I wasn't chasing their approval. Wasn't begging for scraps of respect. I was taking back my power. And it felt good. But Lauren wasn't done. 3 days later, I got a notification, a new post on her Instagram, public for all our family and friends to see. Some people can't handle their own lives, so they blame everyone else and stir up drama for attention, she wrote, with a selfie in front of her new condo. She didn't name me, but the message was clear. Comments poured in, cousins and mutual friends speculating, some even tagging me. Then came the private messages, acquaintances asking if I was okay, others hinting I'd been difficult or unstable. Lauren posted again, this time about single mothers who expect everyone to revolve around their problems, claiming some people use their kids as excuses. Lies, all of it. But the damage was spreading. My phone buzzed with notifications, each one a jab at my reputation, my parenting, my life. I scrolled through her posts, my jaw tight. Lauren had always been smug, but this was a new low. She was trying to paint me as the unstable villain to deflect from their crumbling finances. I could have fired back, could have exposed how they'd begged for my help for years, how Lauren's design ideas never brought in a dime. But I didn't. Responding would mean playing her game. And I was done with that. I blocked her on Instagram, muted her number, and ignored the growing pile of emails from mom and dad. Their desperation was their problem now, not mine. The pressure didn't let up. Dad called from a different number, leaving a message that started soft but turned bitter. "You're destroying this family," he said, as if I was the one who'd refused to help during my surgery. Mom's next email was pure manipulation, claiming I was tearing us apart over a misunderstanding. Lauren sent a text in all caps. "You can't just abandon us like this." I deleted it without replying. Their words didn't sway me. They only confirmed what I already knew. They didn't care about me. They cared about what I could do for them. The properties, their image, their comfort. That's what mattered. I was just a means to an end. Each ignored call, each unread message felt like a small victory. I wasn't going to let them pull me back into their cycle of dismissal and dependence. Lauren's posts kept coming, vague attacks about ungrateful people or family betrayals. Their words didn't sway me. They only confirmed what I already knew. They didn't care about me. They cared about what I could do for them. The properties, their image, their comfort. That's what mattered. I was just a means to an end. Each ignored call, each unread message felt like a small victory. I wasn't going to let them pull me back into their cycle of dismissal and dependence. Lauren's posts kept coming, vague attacks about ungrateful people or family betrayals. They stung, but not enough to break me. My colleagues at the consulting firm started asking questions, nudged by her lies spreading online, but I brushed them off, focusing on my work. I was excellent at my job, better than Lauren ever was at her freelance gigs, and I wasn't going to let her smear campaign drag me down. Sitting at my desk, reviewing spreadsheets while my twins were at daycare, I thought about the properties, how they'd crumble without my help. How they'd scramble to fix what I'd held together for years while juggling single motherhood. I didn't feel pity. I felt resolve. They'd pushed me too far. And now they'd learn what it meant to lose me. I wasn't just walking away. I was setting the stage for their fall. And I wasn't done yet. 2 weeks later, I flew to Miami. The decision to visit my grandmother, Helen, wasn't impulsive. It was strategic. I'd spent days ignoring Dad's voicemails, Mom's guilt-laden emails, and Lauren's vicious Instagram posts. Each one trying to pull me back into their dysfunction. But I wasn't going back. Not to their properties, their drama, or their lies. I needed someone who'd listen, someone with the power to change things. Grandma was that person. She'd always been fair, a sharp woman who saw through pretense, and I knew she'd hear me out. The flight from New York to Miami was just under 3 hours, enough time to rehearse what I'd say. I landed in the warm Florida humidity, rented a Toyota Camry, and drove to Grandma's condo overlooking the beach. She was waiting in her sunroom, her silver hair tied back, her face breaking into a smile as I arrived with the twins. "You look like you're carrying the world," she said, her voice soft but perceptive. I hugged her, Emma and Ethan running to explore her toy basket, and the weight of the past week settled in my chest. We sat in her bright living room, ceiling fan whirring overhead, and I let it all pour out. I started with the phone call. I told her how Mom flat out refused to watch the twins during my surgery, choosing Lauren's condo move instead. How Lauren's mocking laugh cut through the phone. I explained the years of being sidelined, my contributions dismissed, all while they praised Lauren's superficial ideas. I laid out the money, $850 a month I'd sent for years, straight from my paycheck to keep their rental properties from collapsing. I described the late nights spent fixing their tax problems, chasing delinquent tenants, coordinating emergency plumbing repairs, all while caring for my twins alone, only to be met with silence or scorn. Then I got to Lauren's posts, the lies about me being dramatic and using my kids for attention, spreading like wildfire among family and friends. Grandma listened, her face hardening with every word. Her hands, elegant but strong from years as a real estate broker, clenched when I mentioned the phone call. "They refused to help during your surgery?" she asked, her voice low, almost dangerous. I nodded, pulling out my phone to show her Lauren's posts, screenshots I'd saved before blocking her. "Some people can't handle their own lives," one read, followed by comments from cousins who'd bought her narrative. Another post implied I was an attention-seeking single mom. Grandma's eyes narrowed, her jaw set. "That's not family," she said. "That's cruelty." She stood, pacing her sunroom, her anger evident. Grandma had built a substantial portfolio, beachfront properties in Miami, rental apartments, investments worth over $2 million. She'd always planned to split it between her children, including Mom, with portions for me and Lauren. But now she shook her head. "I've watched how they treat you," she said. "I hoped it would improve, but this is unforgivable." She sat down, her voice steady but fierce. "I'm changing my will. They don't deserve anything. I didn't push her. I didn't need to." Grandma called her attorney that afternoon, a professional woman in a blazer who arrived within 2 hours. I sat quietly as they discussed the changes. Grandma was crystal clear. Mom, Dad, and Lauren were completely removed. The properties, the investments, everything would go to me in a trust for Emma and Ethan, with a significant portion donated to a children's hospital she'd supported for decades. "You've earned this," she told me, her eyes warm but determined. "Not just for what you've done, but for who you are as a mother and a person." I swallowed hard, the weight of her words sinking in. For the first time in years, I felt truly seen. Grandma didn't stop there. She asked for details about the rental property's finances, how much I'd given, how they'd relied on me. When I explained the $850 monthly payments and my unpaid consulting work, she shook her head again. "They'll collapse without you," she said, not with pity, but with certainty. "Let them." I nodded, knowing she was right. The properties were already on shaky ground, and without my help, they'd face the foreclosure notices and tax liens I'd been preventing. I flew back to New York 2 days later, my resolve unshakable. I didn't call Dad, Mom, or Lauren. I didn't check their emails or texts. The properties weren't my problem anymore. Let them deal with the bank notices, the angry tenants, the mess they'd ignored for years. I felt lighter, like I'd shed a burden I'd carried too long. Back in my apartment, I met up with my friend Jasmine, the one person who'd always had my back. We grabbed coffee at a small place near my building while the twins were at daycare, and I told her everything, the call, Lauren's posts, my trip to Miami. Jasmine listened, her eyes wide but supportive. "You did the right thing," she said, stirring her cappuccino. "They've been using you forever while you're raising twins alone. It's time you put yourself first." Her words resonated deeply. Simple but true. She didn't push me to forgive or fix things. She just understood. "Focus on you," she added, her voice firm. "Your career, your kids, your life. You're worth more than their drama." I nodded, grateful for her clarity, her unwavering support. Jasmine had her own demanding life, a job in social media marketing, her own struggles, but she'd always made time for me, no questions asked. As I left the coffee shop, I felt a shift. Grandma's decision wasn't just about money or properties. It was justice, a line drawn permanently. I wasn't fighting for their approval anymore. I was building my own future with my twins, and they'd have to face theirs without me. Within 4 months, their world fell apart. The rental properties, once propped up by my money and expertise, crumbled under the weight of their own incompetence. Without my $850 each month, the mortgage payments fell behind. Tenants complained about broken appliances that went unfixed. Utility companies shut off services. The properties became liabilities, not assets. A tax audit hit in July 2025, penalties for 3 years of sloppy record-keeping I'd warned them about repeatedly. The fines were devastating, over $43,000 they couldn't pay. Dad tried to negotiate with the IRS, but his charm didn't work on federal agents. Mom scrambled to collect back rent, but tenants had already started withholding payments due to neglected repairs. By September, the bank initiated foreclosure proceedings on 2 of the 3 properties. The third, their Queens rental, sat vacant with a broken furnace they couldn't afford to replace. I heard about it from a cousin, not from them. I didn't call to offer help. They'd made their choices. Lauren's big plans went down with the properties. She'd been pitching potential investors, boasting about expanding the rental business using her design expertise to sell the vision. But with the properties in foreclosure, her pitch evaporated. Investors disappeared, unwilling to touch a failing enterprise. Her reputation took a bigger hit when her Instagram posts backfired spectacularly. A few relatives, tired of her smug attacks, started investigating. They discovered I'd been the one keeping the properties viable. My money, my work, not her aesthetic suggestions. A cousin posted evidence of my bank transfers, proof of the $850 I'd sent monthly for years. The comments turned fast. "You lied about her," one aunt wrote publicly. "She was supporting all of you while raising twins alone." Lauren tried deleting her posts, but screenshots had already spread. Family friends unfollowed her, and her freelance clients whispered about her exaggerations and dishonesty. She was left scrambling to save face, but no one bought her excuses. Dad and Mom faced their own reckoning. Without the rental income they'd counted on, their personal debts, accumulated from years of poor financial decisions, swallowed them whole. They'd taken out a home equity loan to maintain their lifestyle, counting on my help to cover the gaps. Now, with no money coming in and properties in foreclosure, they missed payments. The bank seized their house in November 2025, a comfortable home they'd lived in for 18 years. They moved into a cramped studio apartment in Queens, their belongings crammed into a storage unit they could barely afford. Relatives who'd once celebrated their every success turned cold when the full truth emerged. An uncle confronted Dad at Thanksgiving, saying, "You pushed away the daughter who actually helped you, and for what?" Mom tried playing the victim, claiming I'd abandoned them in their time of need, but the evidence was overwhelming. My bank statements, my detailed emails offering advice they'd ignored, it all came out through family channels. Cousins stopped inviting them to gatherings. Their calls went unanswered. The family that had once revolved around Lauren's achievements now saw them for what they were, users who'd taken advantage of me. Grandma stayed absolutely firm. She'd heard about the property's collapse from a friend in New York, but she didn't reach out to Mom, Dad, or Lauren. I received a letter from her, handwritten, confirming the new will. "It's finalized," she wrote. "The properties and investments are yours and the twins, with a substantial portion for the children's hospital. They won't receive a cent." She'd cut them off completely, her signature on the legal documents final and binding. I didn't feel triumph, just quiet relief. Her decision wasn't about punishing them. It was about fairness, something they'd never shown me. When Mom called her desperately begging for a meeting, she refused. "You made your choices," she told her over the phone, then blocked the number. Lauren tried emailing her, but the messages went unanswered. Dad didn't even attempt contact, too proud or too ashamed. I stayed completely out of it, focusing on my own life. My job as a senior accountant was flourishing. I'd landed a major client in October 2025, a tech startup that trusted my financial strategies. The promotion to lead accountant came with a $28,000 raise, money that went straight into savings for the twins' future. I didn't check on the properties or answer the occasional emails from Mom, still filled with guilt trips and manipulation. Their downfall wasn't my responsibility. They built their lives on lies, leaning on me while elevating Lauren. Now they were facing the consequences of their choices. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. You'll want to see what happens when karma comes full circle. The family's whispers reached me through cousins, how Dad was working security shifts at a warehouse, how Mom was selling handmade jewelry on Etsy to make rent, how Lauren's latest graphic design pitch had fallen through when potential clients discovered her inflated credentials. I didn't gloat. I just kept moving forward, knowing I'd done what I had to do. Their collapse wasn't just financial. It was social and personal. The relatives who'd laughed at Lauren's mocking posts now saw her as a bully who'd smeared me to protect her own image. The ones who'd praised Mom and Dad now avoided them, embarrassed by the revealed truth. The rental properties, once a source of family pride, sat as boarded-up reminders of their failure. And Grandma's will, locked in with her attorney, was a final boundary they couldn't cross. I didn't need to say anything. Their actions had spoken loudly enough. While their lives unraveled, mine took shape with purpose and joy. I threw myself into my work, pouring energy into my career as a lead accountant. The tech startup I'd signed in October 2025 became my biggest professional achievement. After months of strategic planning and careful financial restructuring, I helped them secure $4.7 million in venture capital funding. My supervisor called me into her office in January 2026, a genuine smile on her face. "You're being promoted to senior financial consultant," she said, announcing a raise that brought my salary to $127,000 annually. The increase wasn't just money. It was validation that I didn't need my family's approval to succeed. I was building something real, something entirely mine. Outside of work, I carved out a new life, one that didn't revolve around their chaos. Jasmine became my anchor, always there with quick support or a weekend coffee date to keep me grounded. We'd meet at our favorite bakery, splitting croissants while she told me about her latest social media campaigns and I shared stories about the twins' preschool adventures. Her support wasn't dramatic or showy. It was steady, consistent, the kind that made me feel I wasn't alone in this journey. Then there was Daniel, a civil engineer I'd met at a professional networking mixer in November. He was different from anyone I'd dated, quietly confident with a thoughtful demeanor that caught my attention. Our first date was at a small Italian restaurant where he admitted he'd only attended the mixer to avoid another evening of reviewing building plans. By our fourth date, we were planning trips to the Bronx Zoo with the twins, talking about everything from sustainable architecture to my dream of starting my own consulting practice. Daniel didn't know the full story of my family initially, but I opened up gradually. I told him about the surgery call, the years of being overlooked, the way Lauren's lies had spread online, how I was raising twins completely alone. He listened, his hands steady on mine across the table, and didn't try to fix everything with empty platitudes. "You're stronger than they'll ever understand," he said once, his voice quiet but certain. It wasn't just words. It was the kind of genuine belief I'd never received from Dad, Mom, or Lauren. With Jasmine and Daniel, I built a circle that felt like home, not a war zone. I didn't reach out to my parents or Lauren, and they didn't try contacting me either. A cousin mentioned in passing they were barely surviving. Dad working night shifts, Mom's jewelry sales bringing in maybe $400 monthly, Lauren bouncing between freelance gigs that never lasted. I didn't feel sorry for them. They'd had years to treat me like family, to value what I contributed while managing single motherhood. But they chose to elevate Lauren and dismiss me. Their silence now was just another choice, one I was done letting affect me. Grandma sent me a birthday card in December with a short note saying she was proud of the mother and woman I'd become. It was enough. I didn't need their apologies or their excuses. I needed people who saw me for who I truly was. The lesson crystallized clearly. Cherish the people who genuinely love you, not the ones who use you. For years, I chased my family's respect, thinking if I gave enough money, time, and effort while raising my children, they'd recognize my worth. But they didn't. They took everything and gave nothing meaningful back. Jasmine, Daniel, Grandma, they were the ones who mattered, the ones who showed up without conditions or expectations. That truth transformed how I approached relationships and life. I stopped seeking validation from people who'd never provide it and started investing in those who did. My life wasn't perfect. Work was demanding, and some days I doubted myself, wondering if I'd been too harsh cutting my family off. But then I'd remember the phone call, Lauren's cruel laugh, Mom's cold refusal to help during my surgery. I'd remember the years of being invisible while supporting them financially, the lies they spread to protect their image. I wasn't the villain in their narrative. I was the one who'd walked away to save myself and protect my children. And I was better for it. My apartment, once a place of late-night stress and worry, became a haven filled with Daniel's thoughtful conversation, the twins' laughter, and Jasmine's terrible dad jokes. My career, once a way to prove my worth, became a source of genuine pride, a testament to what I could achieve when I stopped carrying their weight. My surgery in May went perfectly, and I recovered surrounded by people who actually cared. Jasmine stayed with the twins, Daniel brought meals, and Grandma called daily to check on me. Not once did my parents reach out. Not once did I miss them. Thanks for watching my story. What would you do if your family treated you this way? Drop your answer in the comments, tell me your country, and subscribe for more real-life stories. Your support means everything, and I'll see you in the next one.